Welcome to our weekly market review brought to you by ETM Analytics and Treasury One. As per usual, I'm joined by currency strategist Andre Cilliers. Andre, well, we had S&P come out last week, Friday, in South Africa saying, not too bad. We're cautiously optimistic about the outlook. It's looking good. It's looking positive. A lot's got to do with the GNU and its performance, saying that it's bringing some political stability. So it's seeing some growth points. The US, not so lucky on their review this time around. And, it's a matter that we've been speaking about for quite some time, that, underneath this US exceptionalism, there's a fiscal situation that is not looking as rosy, that is not looking so great. And there's really a lack of, lack in planning on how they're going to address, things like the fiscal deficit, for example. So their pristine image a bit tainted by Moody's after they've been downgraded slightly.
Yes, good morning to everybody. It's an interesting one, and I've always said, sort of made jokes about this, about first world and emerging markets. And when the emerging markets have debt of 70, or debt that can go in South Africa to 75% of GDP, then we are really highly alarmed, and the whole world jumps on you. America stands at 135%. That's considerably higher than us. So no wonder. And we are not in even investment grade. They just lose 1A. But the direction here is important. Now, Donald Trump said tariffs will sort this out. He'll get lots of money. Tariffs is not necessarily the best thing to do it. Sometimes you just have to face the music, and, you have to cut your expenses. So he did cut some expenses, and he's got Mr. Elon Musk assisting with that, but definitely not enough. The tariffs is almost on a back burner at this point in time, because that's not yielding anything. And in the meantime, they've actually gone and approved the tax cut bill. So less money, more debt, Moody's cutting down. And I think it could hit the value of the dollar, because the world is being made aware that all is not so well in the Americas. Debt always catches up with you. And the only way to get rid of that, and we will also learn that, is increase the size of the cake. In other words, grow your economy a heck of a lot faster than what your inflation is, so that in real terms you get more money, more taxes, because there's a bigger cake. And unless you get that one right, it's not going to help you. And tariffs, once again, as I said, is not the one to do that. That does not make the cake bigger. It actually makes it smaller. So we'll watch this space. We'll watch the value of the dollar. But this is making the world aware that not all is well in the Americas on the fiscal side.
Perhaps not as exceptional as they want everyone to believe. The other big news, and we're staying with the US, is that the buffalo is on its way to Washington. Cyril Ramaphosa is about to square off with President Donald Trump, happening on Wednesday. Now, we've had back and forth about this, and, Ramaphosa has really got the opportunity to display some skillful diplomacy. We know he is good at it. I don't know if you've watched perhaps his debate or his conversation. There was a panel discussion in Abidjan last week between him and Paul Kagame from Rwanda. And we know there was some frosty relations between the two, but just the way Ramaphosa handled the moments on stage just reaffirmed his skilled approaches to very difficult diplomatic situations. I mean, the stories from CODESA, they're now infamous about his role in the negotiations. And one thing that I'm rooting for him is that, we know that Trump can be very explosive, and we know that he wants to entice leaders, and he kind of wants to bait them often. But Ramaphosa is unlike your Emmanuel Macrons and your Keir Starmers and your Zelensky's walking in. He's got a way that's just softer. He doesn't bait very quickly. He's not explosive in his reaction. So he might be a bit of a different character than Trump is used to walk into the Oval Office. So, it could, if we went with a transaction in the back pocket for Trump, then we can see some positive come out of this meeting. Of course, if Trump decides, he's going to wake up with a skewed neck and decide to handle him like he did Zelensky, there's not much Ramaphosa can do about that. But we are seeing Trump, like you mentioned, the tariffs are on the back burner. So perhaps back rolling a bit, looking more transactional at these countries. This could be a great opportunity for Ramaphosa to strike an excellent deal, or at least realign South Africa a bit with US interests.
Yes. Okay. So Mr. Ramaphosa is a very skilled negotiator. We just have to look at CODESA, but very more recently. He sits with an ANC that one side of the ANC tends to favor the DA. The other side of the ANC tends to favor the MK party. So he's got various factions. We all know about this. And he's got a GNU with even more that puts more of these factions in charge.
That's right.
And it's still together. Why is it still together? Because you've got a skilled negotiator handling all the sides. So I think there's a part of a lot of people that wants to see a fight in the White House. They want to see the cleaning the floor with Mr. Ramaphosa. He is not going to enter into something like that. What we must also remember is that there's only a 10 to 15 minute open discussion between the two where the press is involved. So that's where the show could take place. Mr. Ramaphosa is not going to enter into that. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
What we have to watch for is the tweets that come out on Trump Truth afterwards. That will give us an indication of how well or how badly this actually went behind closed doors. Because that's where the real discussion takes place. Let's go and look at the Zelensky one. That was a bit of a fight. Poof, poof, poof. A 3-minute video that was made went into the world. But the discussion wasn't 10 minutes. It wasn't 3 minutes. And at the end of the day, the discussion is more important behind closed doors than anything. And that's where the truth, Trump tweets come out that will give us an indication. I am not so sure that we're going to walk away with a fantastic deal on the table. There could be some deals, but I don't think this is the finality. I don't think this is the week where it actually enters into the negotiation starts here. So I think the outcome is important to watch, but I don't think there's going to be an argument of a fight.
It's at least we have open communication lines, which I think is vitally important. Having John Steenhuisen as the Minister of Agriculture go along with him to show that the country's two largest parties are working together, I think is a very smart strategic move from their side. But speaking about things keeping it together, the GNU managed to keep it together to pull off a budget 3.0. Third time lucky. It seems like it's going to pass. I'm not expecting any surprises apart from of the VAT and no tax increases being cut out of the budget. So I think it should be smooth sailing this Wednesday.
I think it will be smooth sailing, but what I'm going to clearly watch is where does the extra money come from? Does it just come from savings and allocations to departments, or is all of it being taken away from the money that was going to be spent on infrastructure development? Because that to me is key. There's no point in just cutting budgets or by cutting the money that would have gone to infrastructure spending, because that is where we are building a bigger cake or baking a bigger cake. And if we don't bake a bigger cake, then this is not going to go anywhere. Then we just kick the can down the road till the next budget next year. So we have to see, yes, it's going to be plain sailing. Yes, it will be approved. But how did they do it to get it through? Where was the cuts? Where's the spending? Where's the reining in of expenditure?
So all this with S&P, you know, Trump, if it goes well with him, with Ramaphosa, the budget being passed, the Rand's going to like it, I'm thinking.
So we've said last week, the week before, and the week before that the political risk is a little bit lower. And we're definitely seeing it in the value of the Rand. This last week, it also came out that the inflation framework is about to change, where there won't be a range, but there will only be a target rate. The target rate seemingly to be put at 3%, which is low, but good. But that's all good for interest rates for people who owe money, because that simply means our inflation is basically at that rate. So no change in interest rates at the upcoming MPC meeting. But good for the Rand, good from an investor perspective and positiveness. So if we look at the value of the dollar and we look at the value of the Rand, then it seems that we might be moving into a slightly lower range even, and we could now most probably focus on a 1775, 1875 range for the Rand for the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so let's hope it's another good week in store for South Africa. Andre, I'm sure we're going to have loads to catch up on again next week when we talk on Monday. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you.